All right, everyone, so welcome back into another NBA props video. Going to be breaking down the top prop bets for the two-game slate on Saturday. Let's go ahead and get into it. And so for the first game, we do have Boston versus New York. Obviously, Boston is down 0-2, mostly due to Jason Tatum having two pretty bad fourth quarters, I would say. Obviously, they've blown some leads there as well, but they are still going to be 5.5 point favorites in this game. The game total is going to be set at 205.5. Now, I do think that Boston is going to win this game. It's not the best example, but looking at Cleveland versus Indy, as I'm recording this video, Cleveland is taking it to Indy. And again, it's not the best example because we know mostly the reason why Cleveland is down was due to the fact that they were out two of their better players in Darius Garland and Evan Mobley. And obviously they're back in this game, so it's not exactly a one-for-one swap, but typically speaking, the better teams do figure out throughout the series. And I do think Boston is a better team than New York. At least I do think that they will be for at least this game. We'll see what happens then in game 4. But the summary of that is that I am placing bets based off of that consideration that I do think Boston is going to win. And I do think that this spread is right, 5.5 points. I think that that is the right route to go. And so the bets I'm going to be on for this video are going to reflect that, at least for this first game. And so we go ahead and just take a peek at some of the good prop bets that we were getting in this game, at least with Boston to start. We're really not getting that many good prop bets, and that's kind of the issue here, guys, is that it's not exactly going to be a loaded slate. In terms of prop bets, we want to be going out of our way to target, and that is a concern to me. Like looking at Tatum to get over 10 rebounds is a bet that we could potentially get to. Obviously, in the series, thus far, he's gotten 14 and 16. He's projected to get 42 minutes. Obviously, we love that there as well. We are seeing some differing lines from the sports books as well. Bet Rivers has them at minus 130 to get over 9.5. We actually have some books that are slightly, giving them a minus number to get over 10.5, but still heavily favoring the under at 10.5. That is why we are seeing the line be at 10 as a push with how PrizePicks is valuing it. I'm fine getting to that number at 10, knowing that it does have the potential to be a push, but actually not one that we need to go out of our way to target. Same thing here with Al Horford for over his points, rebounds, and assists of 16.5. Not exactly, but I need to go out of my way to target as well. And that's kind of the issue with Boston is there's really nothing too crazy just yet in terms of bets I want to be going out of my way to target. And so in a funny way, thankfully, we're not getting any fantasy score prop bets for Derek White just yet. As I'm recording this video, Derek White has obviously been tearing it up recently, and that's kind of the joke is that he's been popping up for the under fantasy score for so long. Honestly, he's been playing so well that you could argue he's going to be a good bet for like the Eastern Conference Finals or something like that. That's how well he's been playing. It does feel like he's due to have a bad game. I will say that because he's been so good. Maybe in a better way of phrasing that is Jaylen Brown, Tatum's due to have a good fourth quarter. Drew Holiday's due to have a good game as well. So maybe that's a better way of phrasing it there. But he obviously has been someone that's been going off. But yeah, guys, the issue that we're having with Boston is none that are perfect bets, I would say. Tatum to get over 34 points and rebound or points and assists, I don't mind as well. He's getting a lot of hate. And I do think that this is just one of those spots where it's just like, all right, you need to come through in the fourth quarter. And it's not like he's playing terribly, I would say. Like last game was not the best, but it's just a spot where you kind of expect a player like Tatum to figure it out and have a good game. So I wouldn't mind the idea of getting to that, but at the same time, we're forcing it. For PrizePicks purposes, this one has a 50.6% likelihood to hit. There's no reason to go out of our way to target that. So let's go ahead and jump on into New York. And so now we go ahead and get into New York, guys. We are getting some interesting spots, I would say, here for New York. Like Josh Hart to get over 9 rebounds, again, on PrizePicks is interesting. We're actually being told to bet the under, though. 52.6% likelihood for the under to hit. So that's kind of a constraint that we have with this bet. But looking at the projection data is telling us to bet the over, the average line, the projection line. All of those data points are telling us to bet the over. Now, thus far, the series 6 and 11, so don't exactly like that there with him. He is getting heavy minutes. He is getting extremely heavy minutes, and so that does bode well for us. But the interesting thing here with New York is we're kind of being told data-wise to bet on a lot of the overs. Now, Mitchell Robinson, we know that the problem with him is going to be minutes. Can we trust those minutes to be there? He has been getting about 20 minutes the last two games, 22 and 21, and with that, he has been able to get the over here, rebounds-wise, 8 and 7 thus far. And so at 5.5, that's probably honestly my favorite bet thus far. But again, I think we can bank on him getting 20 minutes. I just would love for him to get a little bit more run. The thing with it is they do need to give him the 20 minutes that he's projected to get because they have Porzingis, because they have Horford. So probably my favorite bet thus far. But looking at it, I think we're just getting better traditional sportsbook bets rather than PrizePicks bets. Like here's another example. Mikal Bridges for over points and assists here of 18.5. Again, he is someone that's playing heavy minutes, obviously. Okay, and we're seeing different lines here. Like on Bovada, we can get this bet at plus 105 for him to get that over. So not a bad spot there. OG to get over his rebounds and assists of 6.5. He has split thus far this series, but again, on Bovada, a site like that, you can get that at plus 105 there as well. Jalen Brunson, over rebounds and assists of 9.5. Okay, he's gotten 10 and 9 thus far this series. Okay, all the lines are basically favoring the over of 9.5. I wouldn't be surprised if this bet actually on PrizePicks ends up getting bumped a little bit because it's a bet that is decently popping, and we're seeing some lines, DraftKings, FanDuel at minus 125. I could see this end up being a bet that people get to. And I'm actually curious here. Let's see. Is this a popular bet that's going on right now? Because I could see it being a popular bet for people. It's not. So we got Tatum, 27.5 points, Brunson, and then Jaylen Brown. I'm actually curious. Let's take a peek at those. So Brunson to get over 26.5 points, 50% likely to hit. So not exactly a bet that we need to be targeting. We'll take a peek at Tatum. Tatum 27.5, 51.2% likelihood for him to get the over. So again, not a bet that we really need to be targeting. And we'll take a peek at Jaylen Brown as well. And so 50.3% likely. So I don't really understand why those are popular. And it's not the randomness where typically speaking, people are just betting on the green screens or red screens, for example, like the last 5 average. So very interesting stuff there. Just, I guess, big name players that people in big towns are just excited to bet on is my assumption there. So we go ahead and jump on into the next game. We got Minnesota versus Golden State. So the big thing with this game, obviously, is that Curry is still out in this game. Rumors are is that he could potentially be back by game 6. That's like the best outcome is what we've been told. So we need to take a peek at some of the data that we have coming in. So we're looking at when Jimmy Butler's on the court and when Curry is off the court, who benefits the most. And I think that's the best route that we can go in terms of potentially finding some prop bets that we want to be on. And so let's start with someone like Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler does see about a 6.8% bump in his usage. His fantasy points go up about 5 as well. His points go up 7. His assists go up 1. He actually sees a slight decrease in his steals and also his rebounds. I'm assuming that's just because he's taking a bigger usage on offense, spending a little bit more energy on offense. And so if we're trying to find some prop bets for him, we're probably looking at something like his points, points of maybe 23. His per 36 average, though, is only 23.6 points. And so looking at the game spread where Minnesota is favored to win by 5 points, we don't necessarily have to worry about a blowout at that point. And so with that, I think we can assume that Jimmy Butler should at least be able to get more minutes. And so that's what we're going to be concentrating on, guys, is that he should be able to get maybe 42 minutes is what he's projected to get. And so with that, we are getting an interesting line there with his points. Only a 50.4% likelihood for him to get over 23 points. We can see that was bumped up, though, from 22. Okay, so that makes sense. Now, the next player that benefits the most, actually, with him off the court, with Curry off the court, is Pods, where he is someone that sees a 7% bump in his usage. His fantasy points go up by 4 or so. His points per 36 go up about 6. And again, like Butler, kind of the rest of his stats don't go up that much. So it's just more or less just getting more shot attempts. So if we're looking at a bet for him, we're probably looking to bet on it potentially his over points of 12.5. That'd be the route that we would want to go. Now, the issue with him is he just really hasn't been playing well thus far this postseason. And so that's a big worry for the Golden State Warriors. If they cannot get him going, that's a big concern. Now, Buddy Hield is getting a bunch of hype, and I think a lot of people might end up trying to bet on him to get over 14 points. And I would just have a little bit of caution against doing that. His per 36 production is 16.1 points, whereas Pods is 20.4. Okay, so a big difference per 36 there. And so this is kind of my way of saying, don't be surprised if that does end up flipping, where Pods has a good game and Hield kind of comes back to the norm. He's had 3 really big games, very fun media-wise that he's having those good games and whatnot. If anything, I think I would rather be trying to target him for like a 3-pointer made, but if they're going to give us it a goblin at 2.5, it's just not worth it. Just for an FYI, though, he does average 4 3-pointers made per 36 with Corey off the court and then Jimmy Butler on the court. So did want to call that out there as well from there. And then in terms of the bets that we are getting for Minnesota, like the good bets that we could potentially get to, they just don't align with what we see, typically speaking, with Curry off the court. And again, with Jimmy Butler on the court. So really, I don't see any of the bets that we could be going out of our way to target. The only one I would potentially consider are like these Draymond Green prop bets, maybe him to get over 15.5 points and rebounds. He seems like he's going to be a little bit more motivated to play well. He was getting into like a spat with the media and stuff. I don't know. I just see that as Draymond Green trying to find motivation to play well. It's just that's who he is, right? He did end up having a good game in game 1, 26 there. And he's someone that I could buy into that. But again, for PrizePicks purposes, only a 50.4% 1.9% likelihood for that to hit. So again, not exactly a bet that we typically be one to go out of our way to target. So nothing really there for me. So let's go ahead and jump on into the other side of this game, Minnesota. We'll see if we're getting any good bets there. And yeah, I would say board wise, it's just about the same as what we have seen thus far this series, guys. Anthony Edwards is getting heavy mints, but he hasn't been someone like line wise we need to bet on because his lines have been correct. And that's kind of the issue, is like all these lines that we're seeing for Minnesota have basically been correct. Julius Randle, I don't mind. He's been someone that's been playing well thus far as postseason, really stepping up. 31 PRA does seem to be a little bit too low to me. We are seeing kind of different thoughts when we're looking at the lines. DraftKings is the only one that has a pretty aggressive under 31.5. FanDuel, guys, has it at minus 125 for him to get over 30.5 points from rebounds. So maybe a spot that you can get here. But really, I think the best way that we should go about attacking this slate in general is probably just looking at some of the hammer bets that we are potentially getting. And so if you guys are wondering what a hammer bet is, it's going to be a bet that's basically checking all the boxes for us in terms of like what we would look at. So average wise, he typically gets the over. Projection wise, he gets the over. When we factor in the minutes that he's projected to get times the Vegas line, he gets the over. DVP wise gets the over compared to the PrizePicks line. And then we'll also take a peek at any underdog bets that we are getting as well. And so we take a peek at Minnesota. We actually are getting a couple. Dante DiVincenzo to get over 10 points. He is someone that is due to have a good game. He just is points wise. And I guess I wouldn't be shocked to finally see it happen here. Again, it's just something that is due to happen. So I could be fine getting to that type of bet. Nas Reed to get over 14 points does seem to be a bet that, probably should not be there. It's probably a bet that I could see being a push. Both of those I'm actually fine getting to. If you guys like those bets, I would not disencourage you. But the thing is, those are the two hammered bets that we're getting, at least for PrizePicks. So again, those bets are checking on the boxes that are typically pretty good on paper. We'll take a peek at underdog, seeing if we're getting any there. And actually, we are not. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the 9 to 5 bet of the day here, guys. And so we go ahead and get into the 9 to 5 bet of the day, guys. Just a simple 3-slip bet. So typically speaking, we're not running out these bets on PrizePicks because it only pays out 5x. If you can find this on underdog, I do think we would probably just want to do that there instead. 3-slip bet there is going to be a little bit better. Again, this is kind of a weird slate in which we aren't getting any fantasy score prop bets just yet. So typically speaking, we want to be placing those because those aren't getting bumped throughout the day. Those are typically bets that are obviously not goblin or demon prop bets. So I'm kind of looking to see what those are going to be tomorrow. And then we can compare that against underdog as well. So just be on the lookout for that there as well. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel before you leave. That does help out a lot. If you guys are interested in using any of the tools that you saw in this video, head on over to 9to5sports.com. Get access to those tools plus much more, again, for just $10 a month. Thank you for watching. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.